Hey, bruh, if somebody gave you a button and you could restart your life back to high school, would you do it? Well, that's exactly what happens in this anime, Real Life. The anime starts off with the main character setting up a meet with old friends that he probably hasn't seen in a while, and they have to catch up. And while he's on his way there, we get a flashback to when he did a job interview, and they ask him why did he quit a job after 3 months. And he claims to have quit because he felt like he wouldn't fit there and it wouldn't match his full potential. But unfortunately, the people who were interviewing him felt like that was bull. And he was still lost in thought until one of his friends finally snapped him back to reality and was like, hey, what you got going on nowadays? He was like, well, my life is boring and busy whole time. He don't really even have a job. We then see him walking drunk back home. He's thinking about his life, right? Then he gets a phone call from his mama. His mom's like, you did anything with your life yet, right? He's like, nah, I haven't done anything. And then she's like, well, we're cutting off all your finances. And then she just cold-heartedly hangs up. And then some random dude walks up and just tells Kaizaki everything about his life. Now, personally, in America, Jit would have got shot. You don't walk up to Jits and then name their whole government information and not get shot. You'll be cooked, buddy. But considering this is Japan and an anime, I'll just go along with it. Now, after naming all of his facts, Kazaki is like, man, who the hell is you? He introduces himself as a scientist. And then he also tells them that he was selected for a test that they're doing. He kind of breaks down how the test will work, and he says whoever completes this task will get a job at the end of it potentially. So Kaizaki is like, okay, well, how would this work? And he pulls a pill out. And that leads to a fast forward of him being asleep, which is kind of suspicious. Anyway, we see the main character wake up, right? He goes to the mirror, wipes his face, and then he realizes he looks 50 years younger. We then go back to the conversation he was having, and he's like, yeah, this pill will make you look younger, and you're gonna spend 1 year in high school. And that leads to him having a mental breakdown, asking why did he have to take the pill. But then his phone starts spamming and someone's knocking at his door. When he opens the door, it's the same dude from the night before. And he has boxes ready for him. And then the main character's like, man, I don't even remember taking the pill. And then apparently he was asleep. Is this the Bill Cosby method? What the hell is going on right now? Anyway, the dude then hands the main character, I'm gonna start saying main character because his name, I hate saying his name, I'm gonna be honest. The dude then gives the main character a book that describes the school that he's about to go to. And he also questions if the main character will use this as an opportunity to improve, or will he use this and waste it. He pulls out a contract and tells the main character to sign it, and he does. We fast forward a little bit to when he's at school, and he's at the doorstep, and he's nervous. But then he ups his self-esteem, right? He's looking confident. He goes to a chair, and it's the wrong chair, because a girl walked up and said he sat in the wrong chair. So then he realized, okay, it's assigned seats, and then he finally goes to the right chair. And then the teacher finally arrives, and then, in typical first day of school fashion, she has everybody introduce themselves. So a few characters introduce themselves, and then when it got time for the main character, he's lost in thought about how miserable this is, and the teacher had to yell at him to finally answer. And then when he introduced himself, it was complete ass. Like, he just said a bunch of stuff that didn't even make sense. And then the girl after him that introduced herself, she got coronavirus or something, all that coughing she was doing. But then there was a girl in front of him that introduced herself and then even encouraged him. It's like, we gotta all stick together. And then he was encouraged for a little bit, but then he was like, oh wait, this is a high school girl, this is goddamn illegal. After all the introductions, we then see the teacher pull out tests, and it's like, okay, we're gonna take tests now. So he searches his bag, and his bag has absolutely no pencils in it, to the point the teacher walked up and is like, hey, why your bag still out, right? So then he's like, hey, you can look in my bag if you want to, right? Because she suspected him. And then when she looks in there, she sees goddamn cigarettes and panics, right? So at first, the main character's like, bro, why is he panicking cigarettes? I'm like 20. Oh, it's because I'm in fucking high school. And then he gets freaking side eyes of doom and dang near detention because the teacher was like, we're gonna have a conversation about this after school. But he didn't stop there at embarrassing himself. Then when they were handing the papers out, right, the person in front of him trying to hand it back, he takes it and then just gives it to the next student, doesn't even take one for himself. And he's like, bro, you gotta take a paper for yourself. And then everybody around the class is flaming the goofy out of him, and it's just a bad first day for this nigga, man. Hell, even when the test did start, bro still didn't have a pencil. Like, he just forgot he didn't have a pencil. But luckily the girl right next to him that has coronavirus gave him one. We then get a cut to after the test is taken, and he's like, yeah, I probably failed that shit. Everybody knows how this feels. He thanks the girl for giving him a pencil, and then he asks her why she came to school if she coughing that much. And then a dude interrupts, and he's like, oh yeah, you know her. her. She has to be at the top. She's a fucking narcissist. And then they have a little argument about it, and then we finally see the main character get ready to leave. But then as he's leaving, the teacher stops him from leaving and makes sure they have that conversation about the cigarettes. So she's trying to advise him, cigarettes is bad for you, you'll regret it later on, whatever. And he's like, okay, how old are you, teacher? She says she's 25. And he's like, oh wow, you're young for your profession. And then she even thanks him saying that because, she feels like she's not respected enough because of her age. And he realizes that at his age, when she was about to be 28, he was a goddamn failure compared to where she is. We then go to after school, and the main character is moping like, oh, that was pathetic. And the scientist dude is like, hey, yeah, that was pathetic, huh? And then they have a bicker session for a few minutes. That is until Kaizaki is like, okay, why did you have me enroll as a third year? Because it's harder for me to fit in. And the scientist is like, well, that's precisely the reason why you had to do it, because it makes the science experiment harder or whatever. I don't know. And then at the end, he said, I wish you luck in this whole journey. Now, this anime seems interesting. It's a bit crazy because being freaking 27 or 28, whatever he is, and then having to go back to high school and you have to interact with high school kids and you have to hang out with high school kids. But hell nah, boy, I'm 21. I would not interact with high school kids. Imagine being 28, cuz you tripping.